Good morning, Minnesota. It is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, and this is your daily forecast. So, if you are looking outside right now, you can tell we have already gotten a lot of our rain, especially if you're here in the cities, east side of the state, pretty much the entire east side of the state, actually. This the North Shore, etc. We are going to have rain, and we're going to have it for a minute. I'm looking at the composite right now to just to show that it is going like all the way up to the North Shore. If you look at the radar, you can see there are a couple little isolated thunderstorms going on. South Minnesota is actually getting quite a lot of them right now, as well as the West Wisconsin, uh, the area that's like basically an extension of the Twin Cities. If you know, you know. But yeah, they are getting lots of isolated storms right now. Um, it's not entirely certain if we're going to get more, speaking as someone in St. Paul. So if the cities are going to get more thunderstorms than we have gotten, but if you are someone who sleeps well with thunderstorms, I bet you slept really well last night. Um, but there is still the air quality alert for this northeast point, um, but they are going to let that expire. Um, it actually says on the extra notes about it that it has been canceled. So I'm guessing that's just their code word for we're just gonna let this expire and y'all ain't even gotta worry about it. Um, one of one of the things that I actually haven't mentioned before, just because it's been on my radar for so long that I kind of forgot I started this after this popped up, is that there are a couple sections of the Minnesota River that are above the flood crest. Uh, Flood crest, is that the word? Let me like triple check. But yes, there is a flood warning. Um, am I looking at the? I'm trying to look for flood stage. That's the word I'm looking for. But yes, you can see here. Um, it's basically just a couple of chunks that have been at flood stage. They're going to supposedly get out of flood stage by Monday. So there's not really much that can be done about that. Just remember your flood safety, turn around, don't drown, etc. All that good stuff. We aren't supposed to break we aren't supposed to break 70 degrees here in the cities at all today. Hence why I get to wear a hoodie for filming today. But yeah, it's mostly wet, cold, and maybe a little bit of fun stuff around this area for us, which I will cover in a sec. So for the severe weather outlook today, we aren't really looking at much in terms of Minnesota specifically. It's actually southern Wisconsin that is going to have the heftiest of storms going on there, actually going over Lake Michigan into Michigan. So shouldn't be much for us to worry about unless you're in that southeastern corner. Um, this general risk is just pretty much telling us about the storms that I was talking about in my last clip there. Um, we do have a 5% tornado hatch risk in southern Wisconsin today. Um, so I'm probably not going to be live for that just because my live chaser does not does not like chasing in southern Wisconsin and is wanting to sit this one out. But if things start changing, getting more into Minnesota, we might end up having a live stream last second. Who knows? Um, I will be keeping an eye out just in general. Um, we aren't going to get much of the severe stuff here in Minnesota unless you are specifically in that like southeastern corner. Um, you're in the 2% hatch risk of a tornado. There's like a 2% chance for later afternoon tornadoes. That's pretty much the story for like all of this. That's going to be later afternoon. But yeah, the majority of our like severe weather is just gonna be we're gonna get wet. And it's mostly going to be the metro, a little bit of the like north kind of like beginning cabin area, if you know. And then southern Minnesota is all going to be getting pretty wet today. And that's pretty much the majority of what we're worrying about for severe weather here in Minnesota today. All right, that is all for today. Um, yeah, like I said, probably won't be going live today just because um, the main I don't actually know if there are other chasers on my team that I can get live feeds from, and if any of them are going to go out to southern Wisconsin, but our head chaser is really just not trying to do that. She just does not want to do it. So I probably won't be going live just because I won't have a live feed on the ground. That's basically the one hurdle I've been waiting for to go live is I want to have a live feed on the ground before I do that. And if I'm going to go live, I want to do so with someone on the ground. That's been the only holdup. Um, so yeah, you'll probably be hearing more from me tomorrow morning. Um, yeah, I don't think I've got anything else for you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Later.